Hello, hello, hello. Happy Fly Day. Happy Fly Day, y'all. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Okay. If you are with me live, go ahead and send a wave so that I know that you're here. And if you are watching the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay because we know that the conversation continues even after this conversation ends. But happy Fly Day, y'all. Happy Fly Day. I am so excited to be back with you. Last week, Friday, was super busy. And so I said, we're doing Fly Day Live today. Okay. And there is so much to catch up on. But before we go into why we are here and what I'm going to be talking about on this short live, I want to hear about you, y'all. It is July 11th. What have you done and accomplished so far this month? Okay, celebrate. I want to celebrate you in the comments, in the chat, wherever you are catching this. I want to celebrate you. So share something that you are proud of, okay? And then also, I want you to share a lesson. Share something that life is teaching you, that life was teaching you this week. Because Fly Day, if you're new, first and foremost, if you are new, hey, I'm Lanisha Marie, aka the Fly Coach, and Fly stands for Fulfilling Living Year Round. And my goal and my intention is to help individuals thrive in every area of life, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, and professionally. But aside from that, I'm a life and business coach, and I work with corporate women to help them break barriers off of their mindsets and their money so that they can reach new heights, okay? And that's in every area of life. So that's what I do in my main business. And your girl just loves to travel at the same time. So we have that travel business too. And so what Fly Day is about is really celebrating you, celebrating the work that you're doing, celebrating the work you're putting in, knowing that small steps equals progress because it's so easy to minimize and overlook the work that we're doing. And so it's all about pausing and reflecting and saying, no, I made progress. I made strides towards my goals. It's also about reflecting on what lessons are we learning, because as I always say, if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to repeat the lesson. And so what is life teaching you right now? What is something that is sitting with you, and sharing it, because it may be a lesson or a word for somebody else as well. And then we also recognize areas that we may have fell short in the week. Maybe we didn't get some work done. Maybe life went a little bit too hard and we got distracted, or, there's things that are outside of our control, but there are some things that are within our control that we just allow to distract us. So it's recognizing what barriers we came up across that hindered our progress, and recognizing and readjusting. So that's what Fly Day is all about. Okay. We want to end the week with reflecting on what we're doing, where we can improve, but most importantly, how to keep going. So on this particular Fly Day, I wanted to talk about, and why I titled the live what I did is when like purpose, or when obedience looks like or feels like a disappointment, is because, can I be honest with you? Can I be honest? Purpose in Paradise. I just got back from the Purpose in Paradise retreat in Cancun, Mexico, with some amazing women. And it was just it was a beautiful time. The resort was great. Be on the lookout for the hotel recap. Be on the lookout for the Purpose in Paradise recap. But everything was just beautiful, and it worked out how God needed it to work out. But can I be honest? It didn't go the way that I planned, like not even close. Okay. But like I said, it went exactly how God needed it to. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, and just be a little bit transparent as I talk about the retreat. Because one thing that we always say is to trust the process. Trust the process and believe that God is going to do what he said he's going to do, and he's going to make it happen. But what do you do when that process or the outcome doesn't look like what you expected it to, right? So that's what I want to talk about really quickly. Hey. So let me just get down into the nitty-gritty details. And who's here? Let me know in the chat, okay? But let me get to the quick details of Purpose in Paradise and how it went. At one point, the highest that I had confirmed to go to the retreat was 14 people. And I thought that was amazing because it was the first retreat that I had ever done. God placed it on my heart to do Purpose in Paradise. That's my annual trip. And then to also do something in the fall, winter months as well. Hey, BP. And so God placed it on my heart to do that. And so I'm like, okay. And I didn't do it the first year or two that I was in the travel business, but it was something that was always in my my coaching business model, but I didn't roll it out right away when I started the travel business. And so I felt impressed, like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to do the Purpose in Paradise retreat, right? Thank you, Corey. And at the highest, I had 14 people. But after everything was said and done, it was only half of us that were actually there. Now, as an entrepreneur, and if I'm talking to any other entrepreneurs or anybody else that builds community, that puts together workshops, that puts together things where people have to register and come, can we just talk for a moment about what it looks like if those registration numbers are not looking like you thought it was going to look, and how you have a point. There's a point in the process where you have to make a choice to say, am I going to cancel this or am I going to push through? But if I knew if I canceled it, would I be doing what God told me to do? And at the end of the day, that's what I have a responsibility to do. But as an entrepreneur, especially one that is building for God's glory, okay, it's hard because you plan, you pray, you promote. And even though I know my marketing is not the best, and that's why I cannot wait to add a social media manager to my team. Because I know advertising is not my strength, okay? I do what I do. I do what God tells me to do, but I know it could be better. But that's not my area of brilliance. So I would rather partner with someone that is their area of brilliance, right? But when the numbers don't match the vision, it can feel like a gut punch. It could be disheartening, right? But the whole time that I was going, so it took me a year to plan this. And the whole time I'm like, okay, God, you're going to do whatever it is that you're going to do. What you said definitely have to follow your first mind and keep grinding, like literally, because it's like, it took me a whole year to plan this thing. And honestly, I knew what you were saying, Corey. And it's like, honestly, I had seen other retreats, and how it came together, that's how God gave it, and it's not like, oh, I'm this master retreat planner, but it's how God gave it. The one thing I would say is I would add an extra day of rest because it was busy, at least for me, but I would add an extra day. But it was just the whole time in planning it, I just had to keep saying, like, okay, I trust the process. God, I trust you. I trust that the people that you bring, the people that come together is exactly who needs to be there. And that's exactly how it ended up. Even though it wasn't the quantity that I necessarily wanted, it was all about the quality. Okay. And at the end of the day, success for me, I can only say from Lanisha, success for me is not about numbers. And I was just talking to someone else on a different app because it's like, how do you measure success? Put it in the chat for me. How do you measure success? Whether it's income, like what does it look like? What does success look like to you? And it's like, yeah, success to me could be income, but my main measure of success and am I successful was I obedient? And did I do what God asked me to do? So that's what I did. And so it was a success. It was a success. And while this is another reason why I say it is so important to renew your mind daily, because I promise you, if I was not prayed up, if I did not renew my mind daily, then it would have been really, really easy to get discouraged because, of course, you would want more people. But what I learned is, and I always knew about myself, I am a person, I love connection. Okay, say it with me, y'all, because I say it enough. I love connection, community, and collaboration, but I love creating intimate spaces because that's where it's safer. At least for me, I'm able to create a safer space in a more intimate environment and setting. I don't necessarily need to be in front of 100 people, 200 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. I don't necessarily need to be in front of that in order to make an impact on whoever God needs, however God aligns it, right? But I'm like, okay, this group of women are here for a reason, and we're going to learn from each other. So it was just so good. And honestly and truthfully, the biggest lessons before I hop off of here is that I just like the takeaways that I had to continue reminding myself is that be flexible with the time, because you know your girl is a planner. Okay. I'm a planner. I use a calendar, my to-do list, all the things. I had my itinerary. Your girl had it all together. But it didn't work out like that all the time. Okay. The excursions went a little bit longer. So therefore, we had to shift one of the workshops. And then on the last day, we did a sunset cruise. And it went super late, longer than what they told me it was. And we ended up missing dinner. So dinner looked a little bit different. But I had to work through that, right? And I had to learn to be flexible. And most importantly, I had to learn how to let go of control, because I'm a type A, okay? And I'm working on letting go of control, okay? Because your girl wants to be married at some point in time. So I have to learn how to let go of control. But like I said, the small group really allowed for just deeper intimacy, vulnerability, and community, and how God allowed the community to just come together and mesh so well, like just gel so well together. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And actually, these last 2 days, I've been in a workshop because I'm a facilitator for a program called Community Building. And it's something that's very near and dear to my heart here in the Milwaukee area, but it's actually, they host community building workshops globally. Like I literally was on the training with someone from Switzerland, a couple people from Hungary. Like they go to Budapest, they go all over the world facilitating these workshops. So if you see me gone somewhere, don't be surprised. But I facilitate these workshops called community building, and just to see that come together. There was a moment that we were on the shuttle headed back to the hotel, and we just had it was like, have you ever had one of those deep laughs where you're just like, it's like deep inside? And we experienced that, and I just had to sit back and reflect, and I just looked out the window, even though I couldn't really see because it was dark. And I'm just like, God, you are just so good, because I couldn't have asked for, you just never know how people are going to mesh well, right? And I have always grown up where I'm like, I'm not mixing friends. I'm not doing that. You know, if I'm your friend, we over here. And then when it's time for me to hang out with this friend, we over here. But it's like just bringing together so many different women from different generations, and everybody just get along. Like that had nothing to do with me. That was all God. Okay. And so at the end of the day, this live, as I wrap this up, is not just about the retreat, but what I really want to talk about is the assignment that's on your life. And sometimes what you are building, it won't look like what you pictured. Okay. But if God called you to build it, you better keep showing up. You have to keep showing up. So whether you are launching a course, maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're writing a book, maybe you're hosting an event, and you could have felt disappointed because the numbers didn't match with the sign up, with the registrations, or maybe you're questioning whether your vision is still worth it. It is. If it's the assignment that is personally given to you, it is absolutely worth it. So keep showing up. And next, stop measuring success by the crowd and start measuring it by your consistency, your obedience, and your faithfulness. Okay? So I hope y'all got something from this. I just felt led to talk about that today on Fly Day, especially since it was the first week back from the retreat. And so I just leave you with one question. Where in your life or business have you been frustrated, where it doesn't look like you pictured it, but deep down you know that you were positioned for purpose? Okay. Be honest with yourself. Sit with it. Send me a message if you want to continue this conversation, because it happens. Okay. So just know that this is just a little bit of a snippet. Okay. But I'm going to actually do like I said, a bigger recap of the Purpose in Paradise retreat, so y'all can just get a little vibe. And then of course, 2026 is already in the works. The people that came to the retreat this year, they are already on the wait list. I'm going to be announcing the details to them shortly, and then it's going to go out to my email list. Okay, so this is just a plug. If you are not on my email list, I need you to go to lanisha.marie.com. Make sure you are on my VIP email list, because they get information, updates, news, accountability, motivation, all the things before the general public, and then it'll go out to the general public next. So if you want to make sure that you are in attendance for the 2026 Purpose in Paradise retreat, I need you to make sure that you're on the wait list, so that way and you are the first to know, because Spaces will fill up. There's only a few spaces that are going to be for 2026. Okay. So other than that, like I said, if you did not already, go ahead, comment below. Let me know what your win for the week was. Let me know your lesson. I actually had a couple lessons this week, but I'll just sit this here because it's already too long. But let me know your lesson for the week. What did you learn? And what are we working on for next week? Okay. All right. Have an amazing and safe weekend. And I will see y'all next week on the Fly Day Live. See you later.